Welcome everyone to this special artist talk. Tonight we have the privilege of diving into the world of an incredibly talented artist whose work captures the essence of urban life, memory, and personal storytelling. Raphael Crump, originally from New York and now based in Dallas, Raphael has built a body of work that resonates deeply with viewers by reflecting on personal and collective experiences. His vivid cityscapes, dynamic compositions, and unique use of sneakers as visual storytelling elements have made his art both nostalgic and contemporary. Through each piece, he invites us to explore themes of identity, belonging, and ever-evolving concepts of home. His latest solo exhibition, Coming Home, currently on display here at Urban Gallery in Deep Ellum, is a profound reflection on personal history and what it means to return, whether physically, emotionally, or creatively. In this conversation, we'll explore the journey that led to this show, the deeper meaning behind his work, and stories that shape his artistic vision. Please join me in welcoming Raphael Crump. So how you doing today?
I'm doing good now.
Thank you for being here.
Yeah.
We have a great show on the wall, and it's one thing to see it in person without hearing the artist. It's another thing to hear the artist talk about it and his journey to get something so big on the wall. We don't realize how much work and effort it takes to accomplish something like that. So can you share a little bit about your background and how you got into art?
Okay. My background, coming from an art family. My mother was an illustrator, painter, and my dad was a graffiti artist with his cousins and friends from the streets. My parents met, they had me, and I just remember being a little kid going to night classes with my mom to her college, watching her paint. And then hanging with my father and his friends, crawling on the floor, seeing spray cans and black books full of graffiti sketches, and coming from a family that appreciated the art and always took us to museums and educated us on artists and history. And my grandmother was a seamstress. So I just come from a family of creators.
Yeah. Growing up in New York and now you're based here in Dallas, how these two places shaped you as an artist and what you're doing today?
I'd have to say it's the energy, the community, and the people in both places that have embraced me and pushed me forward to continue to be the best I can. It's the support, from back home in New York, and I get the support here in Dallas as well.
Well, I met you a few years ago, and tonight I'm wearing this hat because I know you're from New York, and then out there you have a few pieces with sneakers. So I'm wearing some Jordans, and they're actually stitched together from a variety of fabrics and colors. The right and left don't match, but they come together so well, they look good on feet, right? And so when I look at your show Coming Home, it almost has the same feeling, that it's a lot of things stitched together and they come together really well. How did you get to using and exploring like urban life, sneakers in your journey or your memories?
So I've always been a huge fan of sneakers, and back in New York, we take public transportation everywhere. We rarely drive, so it's all about your outfit, it's how you dress. And sneakers are like your Mercedes-Benz. It's how you represent yourself, it's fashion. To have the newest Jordans on, it's like you're driving the newest car. You get on the subway and somebody sees your shoes and they give you props for having a nice outfit, matching shoes. So I just have a big passion for sneakers, Nike, the design, and yeah.
Is, for people who are sneakerheads and pay attention to their footwear, is there a shoe that you remember and maybe like what it took to get your parents to buy it, or maybe a shoes that you were gifted that stood out and they kind of keep showing up in your artistic journey?
It was the Jordan 1 and my parents would never buy that for me because they would not buy a $120 pair of shoes for me to play in. I was only recently able to get my first pair of Jordan 1s, like the last couple of years, because I can afford it now.
Yeah.
But they're still expensive. They're still hard to get, you know. But I bought the first pair and they went right into collection. I don't wear them or anything like that.
So the journey to coming home, what is the initial inspiration for coming home? Was there any specific moments that sparked your idea? What led up to not only the name, but this group of art being together here today?
So I came up with the theme of this. I did a lot of reflection last year, just thinking about the work that I'm putting out, the story that I'm telling. And a lot of the work that you guys have been following has been about the journey outside of home, moving forward in life. The energy, the excitement, the beauty of our environments, the things that make us feel comfortable. That's the city is our home. But what do you do after you're outside? You come back to a place of safe, and warm, and comfort. And I wanted to, every time I create a painting, I'm inviting you guys into who I am just a little bit more each time. I wanted to get a little bit more intimate and let you really know a deeper introduction of who I am and where I come from and the things that made me feel comfortable at home so I can focus on my talents.
So how does this show differ from your previous shows? I know the style and aesthetically, they're the same. You've brought some older works that kind of help this timeline, but is there anything different that went into creating the newer things that you plugged into this story that you're trying to tell us?
Yeah, as the years go on and I create different bodies of work, we grow as people, we mature. This next series of work that I'm introducing you guys to is going to be the next step for me as an artist, as a person, as a man. I'm maturing a little bit more. I have a deeper story to tell you, and I'm an open book to you're getting me. You know, you're getting my heart, you're getting my feelings. I'm not afraid to just put that out there.
And obviously, we're going to see a lot of works today, but is there any techniques or styles that you explored that you see now, looking at all of them finished, and you say, man, that really paid off. I'm glad I studied this art, or I got inspired by this color or something that you can share with us?
Yeah, I went to school for illustration and fine art, but to pay for college, I went into graphic design. The graphic design helped me plan out each picture, my compositions, and that helped me get my ideas from here out onto canvas for you, so you can take them in and understand the story. But I'm really glad that I switched over to oil paints a couple years ago, and I got this technique of using impasto. It's really heavy textural painting along with my fine details. And that's something that I've been like focusing on as I've been going and really trying to perfect that.
You know, in life, it's so hard to get the ideas that we have in our head, whether it be musically or artistically or many other forms of art, but you've managed to do that. Like you're gifted in being able to put your stuff on canvas, and that's, a lot of us are looking for that. What challenges or breakthroughs did you experience in maybe creating one of these pieces that it's like, man, it finally went from my head down to a physical canvas?
I think it's with the newest series. It was like a light switch that clicked on because I was kind of getting used to painting scenery, cityscapes. I went into my last show, I dug a little deeper, and I did a series, and it was about music. That was a little hint towards this show, a little hint towards, all right, you're gonna step into this next layer, like we called it an onion, like you're peeling back the layers of the onion till you get to the heart. So that's what that is for this. I'm just peeling back the layers, letting you in a little bit more.
Coming home, what's the particular story that you're trying to tell today? And I'll give everyone this. There's 4 sections, or it's sectioned off in 4 rooms when you walk through the show. Can you kind of tell us a little bit about that and just a brief why each room is what it is?
Okay. So we have 4 sections. I chose to split the gallery up into 4 sections when you walk in, from the doors all the way to the back of the gallery. And I chose the title Coming Home is because you're going from a space of outdoors with a lot of energy and sights and visuals that we all see on our journeys, to stepping into a neighborhood that things that you see in a neighborhood, and you'll see the trucks, the train tracks, sneakers on the power lines, and then I'm inviting you into the next step. Oh, it's transportation. I have that on that wall. It's just modes of getting around, modes of traveling back to your home. And then you have the sneakers, which is in the neighborhood. And then the final step, the very last of the gallery, is stepping into the house.
The title Coming Home suggests a deep personal connection. With that being said, what does the word home mean to you?
Home is safety, comfort, love, warmth, vulnerability. You're free to be yourself. It's a safe place. It's a comfort place, which allows you to be who you are.
How do you hope that the viewers will interpret this show? And are there any emotional messages that you have that you want us to kind of walk away with, whether we go piece by piece or we just sum it all up, and when we leave, we say, man, this, he was a New Yorker, he loved hip hop. There's the obvious things that are calling out there, but is there maybe a deeper emotional message that you're trying to give in this collection?
Yeah, by stepping into the house, you're able to recharge, you're able to think to yourself, you're able to see what you did and look forward to your future, as get ready for the next day when you leave your house. So you're like, okay, I can do this better than I did before. Yeah. It's a place of creativity. It's a place for you to focus on yourself, so you can step back out and be great for the world and touch people around you.
When I was little, I got invited to my friend's house, and it was the first time I got exposed to frozen fruit, as you eat it after your main meal. I didn't know that's what existed in that home. What's a memory that you remember that someone would have experienced going into your parents' home when you were growing up, that you just think about it, like it belongs in that home during that time?
One thing in my house was there was always music playing. My grandfather always had the record player going, and whenever one record finished, he would come in the living room, put another one on, and this is all day, like nonstop music. And if there wasn't a record on, it was a jazz channel playing. Living room was his domain, and the dining room, the kitchen, and the front room was my grandmother's domain. She had Jeopardy on all the time, Wheel of Fortune, and that's where I would sit and read National Geographics with her while she's cooking and hear her stories about her childhood. Or I'd go hang out with my grandfather and learn about musicians that he loved. And then they would take me out on the weekends and take me to shows so I could experience that.
As far as your creative process and your artistic philosophy, how do you approach creating a new body of work? Do you start with a vision, or does it evolve naturally? Like, how did you get to because to me, this defines who you are as an artist right now. It may change as you get older and evolve, but right now I feel like this is the sum of everything that you've grown up with, and this is it. How do you get there? What's the process and your philosophy when it comes to art?
I've had these past shows in my head since I was a kid. This show, I've had an idea for it. I just didn't know when it was going to happen. I chose now as the perfect time to do this because the following show after this is the next step from this that you guys will be able to experience. It comes from experiences and life lessons and things that I've learned by being hard-headed. Yeah. You don't touch the fire, you can touch the fire. or advice from my parents, my grandparents, my elders, and I listen to that and I kind of stew on it, and I want to tell that story through my artwork. So there's certain times in my life that I want to put that out there.
And so your creative process has evolved over time. And we all have like stubbornness, like I want to do this, and everyone wants me to do it this way, or the masters have done it this way, but I'm going to do it a different way. And sometimes we have to learn the hard way. How has your creative process evolved? Maybe the headaches or stubbornness, however you want to present it to us, but how has it evolved from maybe a few years back to today?
It's evolved. I've learned to let loose a little bit and not be so strict on myself or certain things, because you get focused on one tiny little detail, you forget about the rest of everything. And it's in each painting, I've opened up a little bit more. I know my technique. It's still a challenge to get things done, but I've learned to let it flow.
Yeah.
You just go with it, make mistakes, and then learn from those mistakes for your next painting.
Do you have any like daily rituals or habits that help you stay inspired? And what do you do to stay disciplined as an artist? Because sometimes us looking from the outside in, we want to do one piece, but we don't think about the next 10 or 15. Like to create those requires rituals, good habits, and we have to be disciplined. How have you dealt with discipline? How do you set your day in and day out so you can create something like this? Because it takes a lot of work.
Yeah, it's a lot of research, constantly reading stories, seeing what other artists are doing, being inspired by other artists, go to other shows, go to museums, look back through old photos that I've snapped while being out on my journey. Like I'll walk in one day, take a picture and forget I had it, look back through my photo albums and get inspiration from that.
So looking forward, after Homecoming, what's next? Are there any other themes or projects that you're excited about that we can look forward to? Because your previous works have led up to this. So if I would have talked to you years ago, this would have been the looking forward. What's looking forward from here? What's next for you?
I can tease a little bit for the next one. I already have everything in my head on how I want to execute it. This show is called Coming Home. The next show is called Welcome Home. And it'll be a series of work that is a lot deeper, scenes from home, things that really influence me, push me forward. And for that show, I'm just gonna let loose on that and not worry about being criticized for anything. Okay.
How do you see your art evolving for the future? Or you as a person, how are you evolving?
I'm giving you guys experience from my personal experience is storytelling. There's one thing that I do want to try to get into, and that's theater plays. Hopefully in the future, it's a goal of mine. I want to turn these into moving images.
Oh yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah. What words of encouragement, or maybe just some truths? Sometimes we just want words of encouragement for people who want to be an artist or to bring their ideas from their head to physical form. What advice or truths would you give to someone who wants to become an artist, or they're in the beginning phases of their journey? And it's very difficult during that time because maybe no one's looking, maybe there's no artist talk, maybe there's not a works like you've done. What advice or truths would you give them?
I would say continue to create. Don't let it stress you. People are gonna say no all the time. People are gonna ignore you, but do it for yourself. Make sure you love it. Make sure you're telling your story. Stay true to yourself while you're creating, and just create. Just get it done. Mess up. It's okay to mess up. You buy a $50 canvas. It's okay to mess up on the canvas. You can come back and fix it later, but just make sure that you love it. Make sure you love what you're doing.
All the pieces out there they mean something to you, but we went and we walked through, we picked 4 of them just to help us transition from room to room. And so I know this is a small image, but this is the piece that we're going to be talking about right here. It's as soon as you walk in, okay? So Raphael, if you could look at that, why is that in the beginning, and how does that start the progression in your exhibition?
So this piece, you'll see it on the wall. It's called Reflections. It's a puddle on a street corner with the subway above you reflected. This is about crossing the street and finding a way around your obstacles. And this is something that my father always told me. He was like, you're always gonna have obstacles in life. You have to find your way around them, over them, under them, and if you have to, go straight through them. You know, and that, I wanted to put this piece up front because that is all of our journeys as people. I want you to see that and remember that no matter what the obstacle is, you can find a way around it. It's not gonna stop you from moving forward in life.
In this piece, can you give us a little more context of where it was? Did you take it with a camera, your phone? Just maybe just a little insight.
So I had a picture of a street corner in the city. When it rains, sometimes the drains get clogged and the corners get filled up, and it's really nasty in the wintertime. It's like,
oh yeah,
yellow, orange, brown slush.
Colors you don't want to step in.
So I'm coming home from school, from college, from class, and I have my brand new Nikes on. And there's this big puddle.
Is that you? Are those your Nikes right there?
Yeah. So it's a big puddle on the corner. And I'm like, oh, this is what Dad was talking about. This is the obstacles that I have to find ways around. You know, so I ended up walking up the street and hopping over the water, and still made my train and everything.
And the shoes are good.
They got a little jacked up.
Yeah. Okay, here's the next one. It's going into the second part of the exhibition. Tell us a little bit about that one.
Okay, this one is called The Light Ahead. I took it at sunset on a subway platform looking downtown at the city.
Yeah.
And I was just excited to go downtown that day because I was going to meet some friends. We were going to go to the museum. It was like an evening show at the Guggenheim, and the sun was setting, and I was like, this is beautiful. Like, the tracks are glowing. It's literally the yellow road, the golden road ahead of you, if you want to look at it like that.
Yeah. And how did you take this? What time of day? Were you standing there when you took it?
Yeah, this was sunset around like 7, springtime, 7:30.
New York?
Yeah, New York City, looking down in Manhattan.
Here's the next one. What's the next room called?
Yeah, transportation.
Transportation. This one has significance to you and a family member. Tell us a little bit about that.
So my grandfather, my mom's mom, the one that plays the music all the time, he's a World War II veteran. He came back, and after serving the military, he went into the Postal Service. I chose to do this mail truck. I saw this mail truck in the city, and it had graffiti all over it. And it just reminded me of him. You're delivering a message to people. You're literally delivering messages to people. And this truck is just a moving piece of art with all the graffiti all over it. And it reminded me of my grandfather.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know it's a deep question, but what are you delivering with your art? Because it's a message. We're on the end of receiving it. Mm-hmm. What are you sending? What are you telling us?
I want to let everybody know that no matter what you're going through in life, it's okay. You know, times get hard. I try to present joy and warmth in my work to give you like a hug, just let you know it's okay. I choose to create my work in a brighter, more energetic, colorful way because when I want you to view it, I want you to get your spirits uplifted and see something that you can relate to. You know, we're tribal. We get excited when we see other people's faces because we recognize, oh, that's another me. I try to do that with my imagery. I want you to feel welcomed, warm, and no matter what you're going through, I want you to feel okay.
And then we go into the last room, and here's the image that we picked. Mm-hmm. Tell us a little bit about this one.
This is the family knit. I chose to do my grandmother's sewing machine that she sewed on every day, and I can hear it Just after school, I would go home and I could just hear the sewing machine going upstairs. She knitted quilts, she knitted shirts. She was a seamstress for the neighborhood. She was one of the first people I seen work with their hands and create something beautiful. Besides my parents, I spent a lot of time with her. So I chose to do her favorite sewing machine with my aunt who just recently passed. She recreated freedom quilts. That's what she loved to do. She went with a group of ladies to the state fair. They had their quilts up for display, and she even sent me one. I have like a little one at home, but I chose to do my grandmother's sewing machine working on her quilt.
So when you painted this, what were the emotions in creating this? Because you're trying to capture your grandma without capturing your grandma. This identifies her. What was the process? How did you feel when you were doing this? I see some blue colors in here, some purple on the sewing machine. Those are very like somber colors. What was some of the thoughts behind this piece?
So this specific piece, when you see it in person, it's painted a little softer than the rest of my imagery. Everything outside has a hard edge to it, really defined lines. This one is a lot softer. And even though I use those cool colors, I still present warmth in it because she was that hug. My grandmother was that soft, warm, fuzzy hug that made you feel all right. So I chose to paint this picture with the sunlight beaming off of it because it's just such a bright, warm memory that I have of her.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I want to take this time to maybe take one or two questions. I'm going to give just a moment or two. If someone raises their hand, I'm going to walk to you and give you an opportunity to ask a question. Right here.
So, Raphael, in your statement, it talks about the animals and the representation of people. I'm curious to know more about, I can't remember the title, but the rooster that's in the back that has the gold and the reflection of a rooster.
Yeah. That painting, that series back there, I call it the pillars. Each painting was a lesson that my grandparents told me. That piece is called the Sankofa. It's an African saying. The original picture looks like a little tattoo of like a rooster with red feathers and a gold egg on his back and his head turned backwards. I mentioned about maturing as you're going as a person, and that painting represents being maturing. So the Sankofa means it's okay to go back and get it. Go back and get what's yours. That was a lesson that my grandmother told me. She said, you might have an idea now, you're not ready to do it. It might hit you 10 years from now when you're ready to execute it properly. So that's what that one represents for me.
When we were photographing the last room, we were debating between the sewing machine and the rooster. In this show, are you going back and getting something like internally? Because these are all memories.
Yeah.
What are you going back to get?
This whole theme of letting people in now, stepping inside my house is me saying, okay, I'm ready to tell you that story some more now. Like I can physically give that to you. I've matured to the point now where I know how to present it to you, so where you can see it and feel it, and I can talk to you about it.
Very good. One more question. Anyone else?
Valerie?
Yes.
Dr. G?
Please.
Hello. Okay, so I just want to be a little nosy. I feel like there's like 6 versions of Raphael that I know. I met you 5 or 6 years ago, and then I remember there was a piece in your studio back in Goldmark. What was it, an ice cream truck? It was and I had to have it. And there was something about it. I'm a sucker for like painters that can paint. The ones that from school and the technical, and there was a technical aspect to this truck. I could see what kind of tires were on the truck. I could read the writing on the truck. I had to have that work, and I think that's what drew me to you. You're really good. you're really good at rendering your forms and telling a story while you do this. But, and for y'all, when you go into the gallery and you go to the pillars section, that's my favorite section of this show. It's so loose. Like you'll see there's a composition with like 4 or 5 eggs in a basket, and there's writing on the eggs, and you can't read the writing. I'm obsessed with the fact that we can't read it. I think that's new for you, and so I guess I'm curious if you can kind of take us into what's happening in your life to where that preciseness that you used to have, it's not there anymore. The work is still stunning. The work is, I can tell you can draw, you have something to say, but like, I can't read the writing on those eggs. The eggs on the Sankofa piece, they're not perfect, right? Something's going on.
What is it?
Everything.
At this point in my life, as an artist, as a person, as me, I'm happy where I'm at and what I've done to get to this point and where I'm going. Like I can see where I'm going and I'm enjoying it. And I'm not obsessing over the little details, but I'm giving it to you so you still see it.
Yeah.
That's for you to have fun putting together now. But I'm just at a point in life where I'm really moving forward and really loving what's going on.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Any last thought or just anything that you want to share with us?
I am very thankful for everybody that's here. Umbrella Gallery for hosting us in the space. My home gallery, Pencil and Paper, they do above and beyond to make sure I'm in a safe place and as an artist, and they always check on me. And Dr. G is amazing. She got me into teaching classes, which I started teaching out of college this last year. I'm just grateful that all of you have stuck with me through these years and watched me grow and evolve as an artist, and I have so much more to give to you. I'm welcoming you into my house.
Round of applause.